Welcome to the Midnight Frequency, supported by Aurora Quantum. Tonight, we are going to talk about something you might not have thought much about, but we've all felt: the stare. You know the one. You're walking down a street, or sitting in a room, and then, without warning, you feel it. That eerie, unsettling sensation that someone's eyes are on you, even when you're sure you're alone. Tonight, we're diving into why this happens, and what it might really mean. Before we dive too deep, let's break it down scientifically. We humans are hardwired for survival. And one of the survival mechanisms we've developed is the ability to detect when we're being observed. Neuroscientists call this gaze detection. Our brains are constantly on the lookout for threats, whether it's a predator in the wild or a rival watching from the shadows. So, it makes sense that our subconscious would be alert to anyone or anything that might be watching us, even if we're not consciously aware of it. This is the sixth sense of being watched. It's your brain alerting you to the fact that your environment has shifted in some way, and it's preparing you for something. But here's the curious part. People report feeling watched even when no one is around. You could be in a room alone, in the middle of the night, and suddenly feel those eyes on you. And it's not just a fleeting sensation. It's almost as though you can sense something, or someone, standing in your space, watching you, waiting for you to acknowledge it. Let's consider the possibility of paranoia. We've all heard the term paranoia, the psychological condition where people feel that others are constantly monitoring or spying on them. It's possible that our minds can play tricks on us, especially in moments of stress or anxiety. When we're in a heightened state, our minds might misinterpret ordinary stimuli, leading us to feel like we're being observed when there's no one there. But if it were just paranoia, you'd expect it to be a random occurrence, right? A one-time thing. But the truth is, many people have repeated experiences of feeling watched in places that should be empty, and that's where it gets unsettling. How do you explain the guy who was driving home late one night, feeling perfectly alone in the car, when he suddenly felt the unmistakable sensation of eyes fixed on him? He looked in his rearview mirror to find no one behind him. But when he looked again, there was a car right on his tail, with no headlights on, and when he pulled over, the car disappeared. Or what about the woman who woke up in the middle of the night, immediately feeling that someone was staring at her? She got up, walked to the window, and looked down at the street. There, standing still, was a man who was looking directly up at her apartment. It's impossible to explain away as coincidence, isn't it? Now, let's take a step into the realm of the mysterious. Every culture has its own version of beings that watch. In Middle Eastern lore, they are the jinn, spirits that observe humans, sometimes helping, sometimes causing harm. In UFO culture, there's the idea of the Greys, extraterrestrial beings who are known for observing humans, always from a distance. And in various spiritual beliefs, there's the concept of guardian angels or spirits, beings who are not so much protecting, but quietly watching us as we go through life. These stories span centuries and cultures, yet they have one thing in common: the idea that we are being observed by something beyond our understanding. It's not a new concept, it's been part of the human experience for as long as we've had consciousness. So, what if the feeling of being watched isn't just a figment of our imagination? What if these beings, these watchers, are real? Perhaps they exist on a different frequency. One we can't fully perceive, but one that occasionally crosses over into our reality. Could it be that we are never truly alone? Let me share something personal with you. A few years ago, I was staying in an old, isolated cabin in the mountains. It was the kind of place where you expect to feel completely alone, just me, the trees, the wind. I was in the living room, reading, when I felt it. The stare, the hairs on my neck stood up. It wasn't just a vague sense of being watched, it was intense, focused. I glanced around, but no one was there. I told myself it was just the isolation getting to me, but I couldn't shake the feeling. Every time I turned a corner, or walked past a window, that feeling followed. Later that night, I went to bed, pulled the covers over me, and tried to sleep, but I couldn't. It was as if the room itself was aware of me. The weird thing? I wasn't afraid. It was unsettling, sure, but it didn't feel dangerous. It was as if whatever was there was just watching, waiting for something. There's another layer to this mystery that we haven't touched on yet. What if the feeling of being watched is not just the result of an active observer, but a residual energy left behind? Some believe that intense emotions, events, or memories can leave an imprint on a place, or even on time itself. These imprints might not be conscious, they don't involve a physical being, but they could manifest as a kind of energetic presence that we sense, even if we can't see it. In this view, we're not simply dealing with beings from another world or dimension, but with echoes of the past, lingering in the space where we live. These are the watchers of forgotten events. Lingering not because they are actively watching, but because they are remnants of something that was, and perhaps still is. So, next time you feel that unmistakable pressure, that tingling sensation that someone is watching you, don't just brush it off. It might not be paranoia. It might not be a ghost. But it's certainly something. We don't always understand it, but that's part of the thrill. The mystery, the unknown, and sometimes that's enough. This has been the Midnight Frequency. Until next time, keep your eyes open, even when you're certain you're alone.